Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the PRA podcast. I really want to thank you guys, as always, for listening. Today, what I'm wanting to go over is the fact that life is a circle, and it's a cycle. Basically, it keeps going around and around, and that's why I always talk about the power of contrast and what kind of just absolute force it is. Because if you think about it, it's peaks and valleys. You can't have too much of good without having bad. You can't have bad without good. And it's a cycle between both of these realms and making decisions within that makes it kind of a very special thing. So that's what I'm going to go over. First off, if you guys are watching this early, I really want to thank you guys. I want you guys to leave a comment as well. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube as well as sign up to the newsletter. If you guys are watching this anywhere, basically, just sign up to the newsletter. I'm going to be doing a 5-day kind of gratitude challenge through the email and through my newsletter. So basically, I think I've done a kind of a poor job at explaining what the newsletter is about, but it really is just extra insights. It's more kind of face to face with me and my thoughts and everything that I'm presenting. It's kind of like a beta tester also. So like I said, for example, I'm going to be doing a 5-day gratitude challenge. At the end, I'm going to be giving everybody that participates a free gift as well. So just little things like that. Please subscribe. I'm going to be talking about all of the experts that are in the network already that I basically speak with on a weekly basis. And it's a different interviewer each week. So you guys will get just different insights all of the time. It's kind of like just a good way to kind of have that refresher every single day of motivation and inspiration. It's just an extra add-on to everything that you guys are currently already listening to. So not trying to replace anybody, just trying to put my place where I belong. So just trying to at least be in the Rolodex a little bit for that realm of stuff. So, and don't forget to rate and review the podcast as well as share, because it really helps as well. With that being said, guys, let's get into it. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is reading a passage from my book because I think it's really important, and it basically goes exactly with what we're talking about. It's a circle. So, and if you guys have not already, please don't forget to get my book on Amazon now. It's up there right now. But growing up, I always wondered what the meaning of life was. Perhaps you've experienced this same curiosity, and that's why you've opened the book in the first place. One thing I realize now, though, is that regardless of the number of stories I've heard or experiences I've had or even the knowledge that I've acquired, I've come to the notion that it all has come down to one recurring theme. There's a middle ground to it. It's the reason people of status can become successful and why the person that came from nothing can receive the same form of success. Or why someone with little to nothing can remain so happy all the time as if nothing shakes them. I have broken these commonalities down into easily digestible principles that can always be referenced back to. First, though, let me begin with the concept of cycles. The water cycle. The cycle of processes by which water circulates between Earth's oceans, atmosphere, and land, involving precipitation as rain and snow, drainage in streams and rivers, and return to the atmosphere by evaporation, transpiration. By evaporation and transpiration. Photosynthesis, the process by which green plants and some other organisms use sunlight to synthesize foods from carbon dioxide and water. Photosynthesis in plants generally involves the green pigment chlorophyll and generates oxygen as a byproduct. Think about that for a minute. The water and photosynthesis, those are just all cycles in themselves, and those are within the cycle of life. The series of changes in life of an organism, including reproduction. So if you think about it, when you're watching like The Lion King, right, there's the circle of life. There's also photosynthesis. That's another form of circle of life. Within that circle of life, there's the water cycle. That's a form of circle of life. Anytime you have something that is regenerating itself, it's pretty much its own life form at that point. And if it sustains itself completely, that's beautiful. That's That's a cycle. That's what life consists of. The four seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. There's actually the recycling cycle, the process of converting waste materials into new materials and objects. Um, the main point that I'm trying to make is until I reach this full understanding that cycles are what life consists of, that's when I was able to realize that everything comes down to pattern recognition. The patterns are what allow differentiation to the fact that nothing is permanent. Think about it. You can map out the next part of the cycle because it's always constant. It's what happens within that's decided whether it's beautiful or not. The constant of patterns themselves, though, don't change, and the flow of cycles don't alter. But perspective within them can. When you realize that, you soon figure out that the power of contrast is what keeps us ready for the storms that arise and maintains our presence when the calm is upon us. Being able to know this off the cuff keeps you ahead of the curve. The reason why it is so important to know this is because, much as Jericho has, which is the short story in my book, the way that I've lived life has been very painfully dedicated to the faith that there has always been something better to come. I've never had the correct guidance, and so I lived through trial and error, and adversity has always been my mentor. After my breakthrough moment in life where I almost lost everything, I finally began to try and simplify what I could. So through the years, I stumbled upon a framework directly relating to cycles, and it's called the fulfillment cycle. And this is what my entire thesis of everything that I talk about is based on, is this fulfillment cycle. And it's something that I truly believe in. I think that it gives everyone the ability to create sustainable gratitude for today, momentum for tomorrow, energy for the world, empathy for others, and awareness for ourselves. I truly believe that. And the main pillar of this cycle are the main pillars of this entire cycle contain that of mental, physical, and spiritual health, relationships, and purpose. If you guys are more interested on this specifically and why these are so specific, which I will kind of touch on a little bit right now, but if you want me to go more in depth on it, I do have a video that I will link here as well. And you guys are more than welcome to also see the video that I have up on my Instagram and the video that I have in my Facebook group as well. And it basically breaks down what is PRA, what it's about, all of these things in depth specifically. But the reason why I'm talking about the fact that life is a cycle and everything's a circle is because just like everything is a circle, you've got to recycle all of these things. There's always going to be villains, and I'm going to talk about villains next week. But when it comes to villains, you have to know that they're going to come. When you can anticipate that, it's more about the training process. It's more about what you're doing in the meantime that's creating sort of this sense of security that you kind of know what to expect, but you're going to go about it in different ways. It's going to keep it guessing. You're never going to vanquish your villains because they are the things that are keeping you growing and on edge and kind of still going. But at the same rate, you'll have better tactics and you'll have a much better mindset going into it than you would otherwise. Um, so basically, focusing on, spiritual health, physical health, mental health, relationships, and purpose, and focusing on gratitude for today, momentum for tomorrow, energy for the world, empathy for others, and awareness for ourselves. You cycle through and you receive what I call these baseline principles. And that's what I mean is the mental health gives us gratitude. The physical health gives us momentum. The spiritual health gives us energy. The relationships grant us empathy for others, and the purpose grants us awareness within ourselves. So why these specifically? Let me explain. My entire life has consisted of needing to recycle through all of these universal principles, and they have turned me from being ungrateful, very lost, and extremely manipulative to truly forgiving myself and being able to look in the mirror with the acceptance of the father and the husband that I know I can continue to be in every moment of every day. Not only that, but utilizing gratitude, momentum, energy, empathy, and awareness has solidified what I want to do and become for the future. It's taught me to be present and be happy regardless of outcome or income. Life is about fulfillment within ourselves first, and that can only begin within each day, slowly but surely using progression to get where we need to go. We will not only take more action, but also take note and audit what works versus what doesn't. So let's really get into the secrets of how to create a fulfilling and abundant life from the inside out. We will begin first and foremost with a breakdown of the purple clouds or villains that may be hovering over all of our heads and raining down fire upon us. And that's what I'm going to go over next week is villains. But just to kind of like recap, when I realized this, it hit me that one of the underlying causes that I wasn't focusing on, like I said earlier, was the pattern recognition. Because when you can focus on that, you start to see the snags. Like you start to see certain things that you can kind of hit beforehand and start to create a better loop for it. And that's really what it's about, is because, like I said, it's not going to change. The constant of the cycle is not going to change. When you are in a very good place, in a very good position, there is going to be some bad that may happen. But the key is the reaction. The key is the awareness time. Like the key is identifying and not letting yourself slide down a slippery slope too long and be able to catch yourself right away. So that way you can continue to capitalize and not be in a sort of negative state of mind. But like I said, you can't expect it to be all, daisies and flowers and roses and all that stuff all of the time. If you do that, you're going to go in with this kind of ungodly like expectation of what you think should happen and what you're kind of like predicating all of your emotion on happening. But like I said, it's not about outcome or income. It's about what you feel in here. When you feel good in here, a lot of the things just kind of take care of themselves realistically. But you've got to have the right intentions to go along with it. And that's what's extremely, extremely important. And so, when I talk about these things, like I said, you guys can go and view the PRA video. You guys can talk about where I talk about like a breakdown of all of these things. And what I'll do is I can even link. What I'll do is when I put this up on YouTube, I will link that video somehow on here, and I'll put it in the show notes as well. That way you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and you guys can kind of go through different practices. But if you guys want to kind of get more in depth with that, what I'll do is if you guys sign up to the newsletter, what I'm doing is I'm creating, like I said, that 5-day gratitude challenge. That's going to be kind of a glimpse of these things in action. So I'll give you guys some actionable tips that you guys can utilize, because the tactics that I use for this, like I always say, are going to be cycling through gratitude, momentum, energy, empathy, and awareness. And I post these things every single day. So if you're not already following me here on IG, please follow me so that way you guys can see the steps that you guys can kind of go through. I use it as a checklist. The reason why I post it every single day, which I know probably gets annoying, but I don't care, is to keep myself accountable. Am I doing these things to maintain my level of poise throughout my life? Because I know that nothing's going to kind of sustainably, I know that like the only thing that is going to sustain is the level of unpredictability and the level of good and bad that's going to happen. That's all I know. I don't know the levels of forms of that, but I do know that that's what's going to happen. So I should at least have a place where I can center myself and recenter myself. And that's what the cycle of GMEA is. Because much like the water cycle, much like photosynthesis, much like recycling, much like the 4 seasons, life is about cycles. It's not just cut and dry with this and that and this and that. You've always got to continuously be training and continuously fighting the villains. And some of the villains, are like judgment. Some of the villains are indecisive distraction. Some of the villains are fear, inflictions upon yourself, all of the self-doubt, all of the self-worth, all of the negative self-talk. And that's what I'll be going over next week. And I'll let you guys know in the newsletter as soon as I'll be kind of releasing that whole 5-day gratitude challenge. But I just wanted to put the bug in your ear with that as well, just because I will be promoting it more heavy as soon as I get everything set up just right. But just stay tuned for that, because I really think and I'm hoping it's going to benefit a lot of people. And at the end, you guys will also get like a free ebook at the very beginning, which will go over kind of, all of the stuff that I'm talking about right now, as well as a free gift at the very end after you guys kind of finish the sequences, or finish the sequence of the 5-day challenge. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I really just want to reiterate the fact that life's not always going to be like, it's not always going to feel good, But when you can feel fear, when you can feel adversity, when you can feel like discomfort, that's when you know you're testing your limits. And when you can test your limits, that's when you know that you're ready to grow. That's when you know that you're ready to get to that next level. That's when you know that you're doing things right. When things are starting to get harder, it's because you're leveling up. It's because you're doing things right. So continue to do the hard things, because the more uncomfortable you are, the better your life will become. And that I promise you. But good vibes, guys. I hope you guys took any value from this. Remember, to rate and review the podcast, please, please, please. If you guys are going on any of the links in my bios, or if you guys are checking out the show notes on this, or if you guys hit the link in the description, you guys can go to Apple Podcasts. If you guys are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please just rate and review the podcast. It helps us grow, so that way people become more aware of it. And that way we can help more people all together. And if you guys are interested on being on the podcast, also hit the link in the description. Go to Want to Be on My Podcast and set up a time and date, so that way we can have you on. We can talk about your story. We can talk about what you're trying to do to level up in your life as well. And we can welcome you guys and we can welcome you to the network as well. So don't hesitate to do that. Don't hesitate to reach out. Take a screenshot of this, please. If you guys are viewing this and you guys click the share to your stories, please share this, or take a screenshot, put that in your story. Let me know you guys listen, so I know who to thank as well. And in addition to that, just don't forget to keep supporting. And I thank you guys for listening and watching. As always, stay tuned next week for Villains, and I'll give you guys all the updates in the newsletter. Don't forget to sign up. Don't forget to also join the group. So go to go to facebook.com/PRA network/groups, or just hit the link in my bio or description as always. Good vibes, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.